Welcome back. We're joined now by the president of People magazine, Leah Wyar, to get the download on all the crazy shit that people do to prepare for award season. Of course, there's the Oscars on Sunday, and we want to know exactly what people have been up to. Leah, it's great to have you back. And frankly, it's very brave of us to have you back because after you came on to talk about Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, our YouTube was just full of comments about how we knew nothing, how it was all the Baldini X basically came out to hate on you. So welcome back.
Joanna, you
Yeah.
just called him Baldini. You're gonna get so much flack about that.
Well, I was trying to say Baldini X, but it
What?
didn't come out properly.
It's Baldoni.
It's
Baldoniats.
Baldoni. Baldoniets.
You're
Baldoniets.
you're
Anyway, the
you're in so
Baldoniets
much
just
trouble.
hated.
I
They're going
know,
to be
and
able to get
everyone's
enforced.
passionate, very passionate about him. A lot of passionate Baldoniats.
A lot of
Well,
passion.
one of the favorite things I used to do when I was at Cosmopolitan and Leah was the beauty director there was we used to discuss the crazy shit that people would do to get ready for award ceremonies. And Leah is the keeper of the secrets. But Leah, just we saw each other at the SAG Awards. I was a guest at the people table. Thank you so much. People look incredible. I mean, the truth is that in that month of the SAG Awards, the Golden Globes, the Oscars, people do look superhuman. You feel when you're an ordinary person like I am, a mere mortal, that you are 3 times the size of everybody else, that you're twice as short. I felt this year everybody had gotten very tall. There were some really, really tall celebrities. And I'm fascinated by how they manage it. Tell us how we too could look superhuman.
Well, if you get a pair of 5 or 6 inch heels, we can all be that tall. I think
Yes.
the heels have gotten higher, not the humans.
Oh, interesting, interesting. I was in sneakers because I just couldn't take the heels anymore.
Well, you looked amazing, but I was in probably the highest heels I've ever worn to an event, and I have to tell you, today I am so sore. Like, my hips are so sore. I was also in a very, very, very tight dress, and so I had to kinda, like, contort my body to, like, stay on the heel and not, like, ruin the dress, and it is painful. It's painful what people go through to get themselves to this place and to look so amazing, and so, to answer your question, it's everything. It's like, we've never been in a place in society before where we could openly talk about weight loss in the way that we've talked about in the last few months with this Ozempic craze. And, that alone, I mean, there's some people who are super open about it. Kathy Bates has talked about it. Oprah Winfrey has talked about it. Like we should be having an open conversation of what this is, but there is always the dark side of people going too far. And I do think you do see that in the award shows. Like, people are so thin and thin to a degree that does make skinny people like yourself, Joanna, feel 3 times the size of everybody else. Like, you're
I'm just normal, but my arms up against Demi Moore's arms. Demi Moore's arms, I could barely see them. They were just translucent. They're so thin at this point.
I do think, like, has to be an incredibly stressful season for her, right? Like, that Globe speech was unbelievable, and that whole movie, to me, is just I watched it the other night. I don't know, have you either of you watched it, The
Oh, yeah.
Of
Substance?
It's
course, yeah,
great.
we watched
Loved
it
it.
obsessively. Yeah.
So, I don't think I was expecting what it ended up being at the end. The first hour is so riveting, and it's so, as a woman, you're sitting there shaking your head like, "Yes, I totally get this. I totally understand why she feels this way, why she wants to take this shot to make herself younger." And then, the last hour kind of is, if you're not prepared for the blood and gore, it's a little disturbing, but it is very symbolic of what happens in this world and what happens in Hollywood after a certain age. And that, I think, is the reason why people sometimes can go off the rails with this stuff. But getting back to your original question, it's like, what are people not doing? Like, they're working out crazily. They're probably, a lot of them, taking some sort of GLP-1.
I remember you telling me that one year it was the red wine diet where people
Yeah, what is
didn't
that? I want
well,
to know that.
don't you don't eat or drink for 5 days, and then
Okay, it's
an
already
hour
impossible.
and then an hour before you go to the awards, you have a glass of red wine, and it's supposed to pull you all together. The impact of the wine, that was certainly a craze one year. Is there a specific craze this year, Leah?
Okay, so I think what's interesting is that people do take that fasting element, and now because fasting has become so healthy, you kind of convince yourself that you're being healthy with your fast. And so it's like the water fast a couple of days before. That whole red wine thing, interestingly, I was talking to my husband about it, and he was like, "Yeah, don't you know the biggest fighter in the world, his name's Ilya Topuria. He has admitted that before a weigh-in, he goes and he has wine the night before because it's a diuretic. Like it takes like all the water out and you end up weighing in a few pounds less. So like there's actual science behind that. I don't know how healthy it is, but there is science behind why people do that. I think the fasting stuff is hugely popular. Maybe going a dose or two beyond your normal Ozempic dose is certainly happening. And then it's like all the beauty stuff that goes into it. You got to time the Botox, you got to time the fillers, you got to time all this stuff so that you don't look bruised, but you look like perfect. And the all the facials that are, I mean, there's so many facials now that are just they're just staples. Like the you and I used to go. Remember, Joanna, you and I used to go to this woman that would do the facials with like her fingers in your mouth, and she would like massage the inside of your mouth to kind of release the tension at the
I do.
jawline.
She would wear rubber gloves, and she was supposed to be Kate Moss's massage person, and she would put her fingers right up. It was the most painful thing, but it was very effective.
That technique is almost like the norm now. It's like a deep tissue facial massage that kind of like gets everything more symmetrical because when you have like that tension all over the place, like you don't always look as symmetrical as you want to look. It gets sort of the blow, like the cupping on the face now is like everybody's doing the cupping with the facials beforehand to get rid of like to just get that much smoother jawline. So much going in. There are these crazy serums now that they incorporate into a lot of facials that contain a lot of enzymes and like albumin, which is the what you see on the inside of an eggshell, and you put that on your face and it just like tightens it all up. And even if you wash it off, the effect that that tightening has with like pushing the circulation and pushing the oxygen up is supposed to have like a longer term effect. So like you'll get that the day before, 48 hours before. So it's like all the timing that you have to do to make sure that on that day you look really glowy, you don't have any bruising, everything's in the right place. And it does make a difference to the way your makeup can look and on your face and how you feel confidence wise.
Everybody's so glowy right now. I'm watching The White Lotus, and I'm looking at Michelle Monaghan's skin, and I'm like, "What is happening on your face? Like, you're lit so beautifully, but also your skin just looks like it's like a beautiful glass, but, like, you wanna touch it, like a
Yeah.
silky."
It's funny, Sam, because I was watching it last night and I had the same reaction. Like
Right.
I mean, they're very youthful, all of this
Of
cast. They
course.
look amazing,
They
but
look
and
amazing.
that the lighting in the location they're shooting is quite perfect. So let's
Perfect.
give, us mortals some credit too. We're not
Yes.
in the South Pacific, but
And do celebrities get all these treatments free, or are they
That's
paying
a
for
great
them?
question. That's a great one.
I think it's a toss up. A lot of like the hair and makeup people, these are people that these celebrities really just contract to be at their beck and call a lot of times, and that costs money. Like they're not doing that for free.
Mhm.
And that is certainly paid work, and those people absolutely deserve to be paid every penny. I think from the skin side, there are some facialists and estheticians, doctors for that matter, who want the publicity of being associated with a certain celebrity. And so they will offer some or all services for free because they know this person will talk about them and show off their work. And it's a reflection of what they do. And then some of them they just want the cash, right? So it's a little bit of a trade-off, I think, depending on who you are, what caliber of celebrity that you are. Some of these A-listers, if they're willing to say, I get my facials by X or so and so did my Botox or whatever it is, they do sometimes do get them for free.
What happens if you go get Botox and you just get like, I remember the first time I ever got it for my little 11s, which I love. I was like, what happens if I'm just a person who reacts poorly to it and I get and my eyelid droops and it lasts for 6 months?
So the good thing is that they can inject something else, which will
Okay.
dissolve that and it will,
The
give
terror.
you back the symmetry, the whatever it is that's bothering you. Actually, when I went for my Botox a couple of weeks ago, that was the last thing the doctor said was like, "You got to live with it for 2 weeks, and if it looks weird, come back and we'll fix it." And
If it
so, like, they can fix it, but also it goes back to all the timing that you're putting into, up until the day. Like, if it goes bad, you're not accounting for it going bad. You're not accounting for maybe needing an extra shot, getting an extra bruise. The it's all this we're living the substance in real life, people.
We are
Yeah.
living the substance in real life. I've never had cupping on my face. I think Sam and I need to go and get some cupping.
Oh, cupping, and also this, salmon sperm facial is all the rage these days. I don't know if you
What?
guys, have read about this thing, but
No.
if we're talking about the glow, that's the thing that everybody's talking about right now, and it is true, salmon sperm going onto your
Salmon
face.
sperm.
I don't even understand how salmon would produce enough sperm to cover a face.
I don't know. I don't understand the science behind going, you know what we should try on our faces? And the semen of an underwater creature. Like,
Yeah.
let's just put it on. They glow under
Let's
the
So
try.
water.
Let's try it.
yeah,
Yeah.
they have that beautiful color. And the crazy thing is that in Korea, where this really started to get traction on TikTok, they're injecting it, and so, you can't do that
Mm.
in America, at least you're not supposed to,
Yet. Yeah.
yet, but so it's more topical in America, but the, place where it started, they are injecting it. So
Oh
there's
my gosh.
who knows? I mean, there's so many crazy things. At one point, I think people were putting, like, placenta on their face or, like, some kind of crazy, embryonic something. So it's just always something new. This is the beauty of the beauty world, the beauty of marketing.
I can't try stuff like I can't do like salmon semen in my under subcutaneously because I would grow scales. I'd be like the first I'd be like the first test case. They'd be like, "Oh, she became a fish woman. She
But
she
you'd be
actually
able to
morphed."
swim really well. I mean, it would be
Oh my
great.
god, no. Jesus.
Joanna, I had a question for you because you know, being there with you was so fun because it kind of brought back so many memories of our past lives together. And one of the things that I remembered was um, when you invited Cynthia Erivo to Michael's. We did this very small lunch of 10 people, and you not only got Cynthia Erivo there in the height of her Color Purple moment, but you actually got her to sing at the
Ooh,
restaurant. Do you remember that?
I do, and I remember her coming by to the office and singing with Michael Bublé, who weirdly just
Yes.
happened to be there. The 2 of them dropped in because at Cosmo, we would have all sorts of people just drop in, and the 2 of them sang a duet, which I have on my phone, but we weren't allowed to put on social media because it would infringe copyright of the song. But I'm so thrilled for Cynthia's success. She's such an she's got an unbelievable out of this world voice, but she's such a sort of decent, nice person,
Yeah.
and it was very sweet of her to sing. I think she sing Happy Birthday? What did she sing at Michael's?
I can't think of what it was, but it was almost like a old sort of like 40s or 50s song. Like it was had like that kind of a vibe and it was just beautiful. I have it on my phone too. And I think like now my niece wants to watch it all the time because she's obsessed with Wicked and she's just like, I can't believe you met this person. And it was, it's really cool to watch her. I watched her walk through all the red carpet interviews and she's such a like good human and such a gracious person. She stops for everybody. But at the very end of the carpet, there was this sea of people, but much like social media reporters, and they all did the rally cry from Wicked when she walked to them, and they were, and she just loved it so much, and she was just dressed in that. Oh, I just loved her look. It was a Givenchy dress, and Jason Bolden, who I just think is one of the best designers or one of the best stylists in Hollywood, dressed her. And I think they said it was kind of reminiscent of like a Tin Man look. It was really a cool look. It was one of my favorites. That one and the Anna Sawai from that Armani Privé that was like that red and it kind of had like an open
Yeah,
section on the side. It was
yeah.
so gorgeous. But I did enjoy the fashion at SAG. I thought I was a little nervous that because of the fires that people were going to play it safe this award season, and I loved that at SAG people took some risks and it was interesting.
When can I get all of these outfits on Quince? Soon? 2 weeks.
Very soon. Very
2
soon,
weeks.
Sam.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
And they'll all be $50 or under.
Of course, they have to be.
Leah,
So
it's
fun.
always a pleasure to have you on. I know you're tracking the Baldoni and Blake Lively suit for us. Is there anything new we need to know?
She did file the amended complaint last week. And that was mostly to do, I think, with having a little bit more of like a protective order because I think she is going through it. Whoever side you're on, they're both completely stressed out, right? So, like, I don't know how it must be very difficult to wake up every day having to mother these children, having to just sort of show up in the world and know that like this is weighing on you. So I think that was like a lot of what that amended thing had to do with was just like I kind of can't get out of bed and operate each day. And what is this going to do to my future, my businesses? And I just need a little bit more confidentiality in this case right now. That was sort of like the update that I have seen and I totally get, right? So, I don't know. It's a tricky one. It's very polarizing, but we shall see how this plays out. I do think it's calming down though a little bit. I don't think it's as in the news as much, and I think like both sides are maybe pulling back. So we'll see if that lasts.
I think they're going to need UN peacekeepers in to figure it out. Anyway, we're going to rely on you to keep us updated with it, and we will look forward to having you back on soon.
Fun. Thank you.
Thank you so much.